The next step is to find people to watch and ask questions. Not necessarily a formal mentoring relationship, could be, but just finding like-minded people who are just steps ahead of you. And I don't remember if I'd mentioned this before. I like to have at least two people in any kind of this kind of mentory type thing. I like to have someone who's a few steps ahead of me, so that I'll come back, and someone who's way ahead. So I think I talked about this before, like with child raising. So I'll take it and we'll say in home education, if you can find someone who's still down in the trenches and has been doing it a little while, so that they can say, oh, they can tell you the nuts and bolts thing. They can say, I went to this conference and it was really helpful. I used this science curriculum and didn't like this one, this one was okay. They can really give you those kind of things. They know what it's like to be trying to teach two children history while there's a toddler and a baby. I think those people are invaluable in their own right, but you also want someone, I think, this is my opinion, who's a good bit farther ahead, possibly even finished. And shout out to them for finishing the race. I really like that. They look back, they have that hindsight that's 2020, and they might not necessarily be able to help with the small details, but they've got the big picture look at things, and they can be the ones who tell you, don't stress about what phonics program to use. They're going to learn to read. And they give you that sense of, it's going to be okay. They might redirect you a little bit and go, you're freaking out about this, and honestly, that doesn't matter when they graduate. So they definitely have that longer perspective that I think is super valuable to have, but they won't necessarily be up to date on what's available in your area as far as like co-ops or things like that. So, they might still have been using the abacus for their math, because it might have been a while. Sorry. It's so weird to make a joke and have no one to bounce it off and go, did they get that? Was it as dumb as I thought? Anyway, so I really recommend finding these kind of mentory type people. And again, it can be as formal or informal as you want. It can be where you get together once a week and talk about whatever questions you have or things like that. It could be kind of just pay attention, watch people, not in a creepy stalker way, but just being observant. I have two ladies in particular who I consider my mentors, and I think we really only sat down with them once, twice. I remember when my oldest finished the summer before he started in 9th grade, and then you have it's all official, high school, everything really matters now, freak out time, and I was like, whoo. So I asked to actually sit down with them, and it was wonderful, like 2-3 hours, and I just was like, question, and it was wonderful. And their sons had been done for a few years, I think, at that point. So they were still fairly close, but had that wonderful hindsight. So, but other than that, I rarely had a definite time. We went to church together, so it was kind of, I'd see them, maybe chat for a little bit, have a question, but there was never anything formal. So that's up to you and your comfort level, your needs, but there's so many resources now for home educators, videos, podcasts, lectures, conferences, so many things, but nothing beats that, real time, face to face person who knows you and you know them and you trust them. That's really important, because people in a video or a podcast, you don't really see them in real life. You're going to get their best face. So it really helps to know someone who will be real with you, and that who would care about your success. So if you can, that should be an issue finding anymore. There's Homeschool Strong. We're out there. There was something else I wanted to say about that. It's gone. If I think of it, I'll add it as a B segment.